What is up, guys? You're listening to the MFCEO Project. I'm Andy. I'm your host, and I am the motherfucking CEO. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, the super annoying pastor of disaster. What's up, my man? The reason, do you know why you're annoying?
Oh, I can.
Because 30 seconds ago, he was talking shit on Texas football from 8 feet away on the table. And it's real easy to talk shit when you're 8 feet away from someone.
It's true.
So just remember, I'm a violent human being.
Your wingspan's not that long, right?
No, but I can run really fucking fast.
Yeah.
Especially for a big guy.
Yeah. I wonder if you could outrun me. I bet you could.
I promise you I could, bro.
No, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
I used to be cross country.
Dude,
you know, that kind of
cross
stuff.
country, that's not fast. I'm talking about.
I'm lying anyway.
Yeah,
I was a
say.
trainer.
Dude, I'm quick for a big dude. I'm quick for a regular dude. In fact, we should just do a video of me whooping your ass in a sprint. I think that'd be a good video. All right, so today is Tuesday. What? What?
Nothing. I couldn't really hear you.
Why?
Your voice was off to the side.
You're a bitch.
He moves around a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, as you guys know, Tyler is a bitch. We have an awesome show for you today. Today we were going to talk about things that revolve around leadership, but we brought in a really special guest, and you guys know that I don't have guests on very often. I really only like to have guests on that have good shit to say and that I know have the real experience to back it up, and today is one of those days. We have a guy who has done a lot, not just in the leadership front, but a lot for this country. He is a Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL. I don't know how you say it. Is it former or current, whatever? Once a SEAL, always a SEAL type of thing?
Sure.
All right.
We'll go with former. That's all right.
JP Dinnell, all right? He is involved in a lot of things. He has his own companies, consulting companies, leadership companies. He's involved in the muster with Jocko Willink. Tell everybody about who you are and what you do, man.
All right. So, first off, thanks for having me on
Yeah.
the show and the podcast. It's truly an honor to be here. I've been listening to you guys. It feels like for a long time because I started at number 1 and I've just been like in a panic mode trying to get caught up.
Yeah.
You know? I will say that listening to your podcast at 1.5 speed, if you thought the podcast was intense as it is, put it at 1.5 speed while you're trying to get caught up. And it's, I listened to you and Jocko's podcast at 1.5. I'm
That's awesome.
Ready to go through a wall.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
anyways, it's an honor to be here for sure. Thank you very much. So I'm originally from Sacramento, California. Born and raised, grew up in the same house that my dad grew up in. Went to the same high school that my dad went to, had some of the same teachers that my dad did. So that was pretty cool. You know, I grew up wanting to be a Navy SEAL. I used to play Navy SEALs. Like, that's what my brother and I did, you know. We would run around the neighborhoods, and on the weekends we'd go to all the garage sales and try to find all the gear and the canteen belts, and the web belts, and the camouflage clothes from all the Vietnam vets. And, you know, other kids were like trading baseball cards and reading stats and everything. Like, I would, my brother and I and my sister, you know, we'd make my sister play along with us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We did that same shit too,
Sorry,
dude.
Sarah.
We used to go to, there was a Army surplus store in St. Louis here called Uncle Sam's. And we used to go there and get shit to like do the same. We did the exact same thing.
I think my parents would like avoid Army surplus, Navy surpluses stores like in their routes, because if we saw one, we would freak out if we didn't get to go there, because that's all we want to do. We want to be Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
I just want to be a commando ever since I was a young kid. So Corey and I, that's my brother, he's one of my best friends. We played Navy SEALs all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, kids, like I was saying, were reading the baseball cards and all the other stuff. We were reading survival handbooks and manuals that we got from old Vietnam vets and stuff like that. You know,
awesome.
learning how to build a ghillie suit. You know, I was in elementary school and I knew how to build a ghillie suit and how to
I bet
stalk.
every Halloween you were a soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 34.
You're 34. Okay.
Yeah. So 34. So that's originally, grew up doing that, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, as most of us do, getting older in high school, I kind of lost sight of that.
Yeah.
Lost sight of that picture. And my dad, you know, I'm getting ready to graduate high school, and he's a little frustrated with me. I got in a fight at a party, and I broke this knuckle, these bones in my hand, and my wrist. And he's kind of like, what are you going to do after you graduate, right? And I knew for myself college wasn't the deal for me then.
Right.
You know, nothing obviously wrong with people that go to school, but for me,
It's not for everybody.
It just wasn't for me. And I grew up, my family, we didn't have a lot of money. You know, we had a great life. We enjoyed life, but we just didn't have a lot. We didn't have any money. You know, really.
Right.
My parents worked very, very, very hard, and it just wasn't something for me. And so, you know, I sat around and I was kind of thinking about it, and I gave my dad the answer that I'm sure every dad's super thrilled to hear. And I said, you know what? I think I want to be a whitewater rafting guide and live on the river. He's like, well, because that's what my best friend Aaron was doing.
Yeah,
right? And I was like, dude, that sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome.
You're camping.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd always tell you about the girls too that were on the rafts.
Yeah. The only bill you have is your cell phone bill. Like that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And my dad's like, yeah, probably not. What about joining the military? And I really hadn't thought of it for years, honestly. He's like, what about the Navy? Like becoming a Navy SEAL? And I was like, You know, because my dad and my Uncle Mike, who's, you know, one of my...
So he kind of rekindled that.
Yeah, he rekindled it.
Right.
You know, so there was one time where my dad and my Uncle Mike were training together because they were actually going to try to join the military. They were going to get age waivers, and they were going to go through BUDS and be SEAls.
Yeah.
And I remember them training to go to like get ready for BUDS, and it was just one of the most awesome things as a kid.
Right.
To see your dad and your uncle, who still are two of my heroes.
Yeah.
Like training to go be a Navy SEAL, and I was just enamored by that.
Right.
And you know, there was no war going on, so there wasn't really a need, so they couldn't get the age waivers.
Right.
So I just remember that, and I was like, okay. So I go to work, and I'm looking across the street while I'm sitting at the register because I have a cast, so I can't make pizzas at the pizza joint that I'm working at. And there's a Navy recruiting office across the street. And I'm like, you know what? I'll go get some information, bring it back to my dad just to get him off my back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got other things to think about, right?
Right.
The high school graduation party out on the lake. That's really important.
Right,
you know?
right.
And, you know, so I'll walk in, and this is before 9/11. And this is, you know, May timeframe of 2011. And they're all trying to act hard and, like, bark at me, you know, how, like, typical recruiters, like, what are you doing in here? You know, and at the time, like, dude, I'm 135 pounds with bleach blonde hair and puka shell necklaces, right? Like, they're like, what is this kid doing? And I'm like, yeah, they're like, what do you want, kid? I'm like, well, think about joining the Navy and becoming a Navy SEAL. Well, they all started laughing at me.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
After that, you know, like instant, like,
yeah.
okay.
Instant fuel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you.
Yes.
And they said, well, I remember he was a senior chief, and he said, well, two things, kid. One, we can't do anything with that cast on your hand. The Navy's not going to touch you. You can't, you know, we're not going to do anything. Two, the Navy SEAL wannabe recruiter won't be here until Thursday. So if you want to come back in 2 days, then we'll talk to you then.
Oh, man.
And I was like, okay. Like the whole wannabe thing.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So I was like, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Roger that. I leave, and I go back to work, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like looking at the recruiting office. And, you know, growing up, my parents instilled into us the mindset that you don't allow another human being to dictate what you can and can't do. You know, like, you guys all know that.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
Dude,
And
I'm just shaking my head in agreement because, like, it's so rare. You realize I deal with, like, literally hundreds of young people. And I was instilled the same things from my dad.
Yeah.
But it's so rare to hear that from another human. Like, I'm sitting here like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know. I've listened to your podcast.
Like, kudos to your dad.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when I've listened to your dad on the podcast, and I'm like, dude, his dad and my dad just need to hang out. Like,
Yeah.
be world domination.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, you know, my grandparents, both my mom and my dad's dad, they both served in World War II. My dad's dad was on a destroyer in the Navy. My mom's dad was a pilot in.
My dad's dad was in World War II as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And you know, my mom's dad was actually, you know, he's a pilot, and he actually flew as a part of the squadron that bombed Japan.
Yeah.
You know, and he fought in the Korean War, he fought in Vietnam as well. So I grew up listening to them tell stories, you know, not too much, but just kind of guidance on the military. But that mindset, you know, my parents just instilled into us. You don't allow another human being to dictate what you can and can't do.
Right.
Like, if another person that's breathing oxygen is doing it, then I can absolutely do it as well.
That's
you
right.
know? And so that was just a mindset, you know, that I had. And I know there's, you know, the people out there are going to be like, well, I mean, I could never be a power lifter. Okay, yeah, I get it. Maybe in my DNA, yeah, I couldn't either. However, this is feasible.
There's a good
within
hip hop
realm.
song about this exact topic, just so I can flex my hip hop muscles on people, by Notorious B.I.G. called Niggas Bleed. Yeah. All right. And if you haven't listened to it, go fucking listen to it. It's exactly what we're talking about right now.
Okay. I'll listen to it.
And
Yeah.
Vaughn thinks Notorious B.I.G. is MC Hammer. So,
But now I know.
yeah.
So anyway, so that I remember that mindset, and I remember my parents instilling that into us, and I thought about all the stuff that I thought I knew about the SEAL teams and the research that we'd done and the videos that me and my brother had watched and documentaries we'd listened to, and I just made up my mind. I was like, I'm going to do this.
Fuck yeah.
100%. And so I went home, and my dad was like, hey, how was work? I'm like, good. I'm like, hey, I'm joining the Navy.
And I'm going to be a fucking
I'm
SEAL.
going to be a Navy SEAL.
That's
but
right.
They won't do anything with this cast on my hand. They said that the Navy won't do anything. He goes, cool, go in the bathroom and start a warm bath and start soaking your arm, and I'll be in there. I'm like, okay. So I go do that. He comes in about 5 minutes later with some tools from the garage, and he cut my cast off.
That's awesome.
And,
so they're like ready to go right now.
yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't recommend doing that if you've had your cast on for 11 days.
Yeah.
That was not a great idea, But, my dad did that for a reason, just to say, okay, cool.
We're doing it.
Obstacle, done.
Yeah.
Crushed. Boom, next. What's next, right? And so I went back to the recruiting office 2 days later, and I walk in, and they look at me, they look at my hand without the cast, and they're like, Petty Officer Garrett's going to take care of you. And that just started the process.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even grip a pen.
No,
I couldn't,
but they got it. They got the point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was honest. I told the recruiter what was going on because he's like, I was like, hey, as long as we can wait to do the physical assessments, like the best. Like I can't even shake your hand right now.
Yeah.
And so that summer, I worked construction for my dad. And what was awesome about it is my dad was prepping me for buds. I didn't know it at the time. He knew what he was doing. Right?
Yeah.
He was pushing me to my absolute physical and mental limits every single day.
Yeah, and you will do that in construction. Like people don't realize that. What kind of construction do you do?
General construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were doing a remodel on a house. Especially if you work for my dad, you'll puke. It's the summertime in Sacramento. It's hot.
Yeah.
If you work at the pace my dad works, I guarantee you will throw up.
Bro,
right?
that's funny. When I was in high school, that's what I did. As I worked on concrete crew, so I carried forms all day in the summertime. Yeah,
yeah. The story gets better.
Yeah.
You'll laugh.
Yeah.
I know you were concrete. So, so in order for me to work, like I couldn't grip a hammer, I couldn't do anything. Right.
Yeah.
So we took my kickboxing hand wraps. 'Cause my dad had me in kickboxing since 6th grade. And so we wrapped my hand nice and tight. I grabbed the hammer. He takes athletic tape and wraps it around the hammer and into my grip. And that's how I held on to it. And that's how I'd work for my dad. Right. And
that is awesome.
Just to strengthen my grip.
Yeah.
And was it painful? Absolutely. It sucked.
Yeah.
But he was just pushing me to my limits. And literally every day, absolute physical and mental limits, he was pushing me to it. And it was awesome. It completely prepared me because my dad also knew that because he wanted to be a SEAL. Like he wanted to go that route, right? So he had done his research also that most young guys don't make it through training. Right. They just don't. And that's for design, right? Yeah. We don't want young, immature kids with top secret clearances in charge of millions of dollars worth of gear traveling all over the world. Right. Doing stuff that's life-threatening as well. Like our training is extremely dangerous, right?
There has to be a level not only of physical toughness, but mental toughness and maturity as well.
Absolutely, 100%, because your actions can get somebody killed.
Exactly.
And so my dad knew that. And so anyway, so that's how I worked. I did construction with my dad that whole summer. And then I went into boot camp on September 5th, 2001. And then 6 days later, 9/11 happened while I was in boot camp. And
oh, shit.
So, there's a lot of fear and uncertainty for sure.
Right.
Man, I knew I was going to war.
Yeah.
Like I had no doubt that I was going to make it through buds, and then now, like you attack
you're
my
actually
country.
You're actually going to be
in
battle.
Like now I'm guaranteed to kill bad guys.
Right.
Like before I was like, oh, maybe. You know?
Right.
Now it's like, yes, I'm going to kill evil people. Because I grew up with a very strong Christian family base, and I know that there is evil. Evil exists 100%. You know? And when you.
And no matter how much the world tries to tell us it doesn't, and how much they try to put in, like we talked about yesterday, the idealism mentality, the reality is The only reason people get to dream that there's idealism out there is because motherfuckers like you kill all the motherfuckers that would kill them. Yeah. And that's the truth.
That's true.
So, dude, they're absolutely, I mean, bro, you're not going to find anybody that resonates with that more than me. I get it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And I think most of our audience does too. You don't got to apologize for that mentality.
Well, but that's the thing. And like you, I'll never apologize for that mentality.
Right.
Because I know it. And and we can talk about this more at another time or, later on this episode. But the evil, I mean, just, there's no denying it.
Yeah.
I will never apologize.
Well, not many people have fucking seen it, dude.
Because I've seen it.
That's right. Exactly.
And so, but that's a little bit about myself.
So, dude, so
from Sacramento, California.
And where do you live? Where are you at now?
We're in North Mississippi, a little town called South Haven.
Okay.
That's where I met my wife when I was in the teams. I was at a training command, and I was going out to that city every other month, 2 weeks at a time. And I met my wife Amanda out there, and we were doing the long distance dating thing back and forth. And she had a son, and awesome. I call him my bonus boy.
Yeah.
Like he's not my stepson; he's my bonus boy.
Yeah, I got it.
That's great.
He's mine.
That's good, man.
And so Amanda and our boy was supposed to move out to San Diego, and I was super fired up about that. I'm like, like I might get out, might stay in, who knows? But they're coming. We were getting married, and then she was pregnant with twins. And when she found out she was pregnant with twins, she's like, nope, I ain't leaving mama. And I'm like, I was pissed at the time, but it makes sense.
Right.
She's a small town Mississippi girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden taking her and our boy to San Diego.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
No.
Culture
Negative.
shock. Right.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been fair. That would have been super selfish on my part. And things were kind of changing overseas. Things were political under our last presidential,
administration.
We had.
Right. I got it. Yeah.
And so, at the time I was just like, you know what? I need to be there for my family.
Yeah.
And that was the next best thing for me to do. And that was a hard transition. And we'll talk about that more later for sure.
So before, because I've like, it's weird because I always tell people, and a lot of people say this shit, like, but it's the truth when it comes to me. Like, if I hadn't become an entrepreneur, I would have joined the military. It's something I resonate with, and we talked about this before the show, and the funny thing is that you're like, well, you kind of felt the opposite. You're like, dude, if I wasn't a Navy SEAL, I want to be a business guy.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny because we lived the parallel things, you know what I mean? But the principles of success are so similar, and we'll get into that in a minute. And I have tons of questions because I want to ask you, like, the little kid in me wants to know about Bud School and all this shit, because like I always wondered. But you're involved with the muster with Jocko, okay? And a lot of the guys that listen to my podcast, we have a lot of crossover because our messages are very similar, just in different ways. Yeah. Tell people what you do with the muster and explain what the initiative is there. Okay,
so Jocko Willink and Leif Babin were two officers that I served under in the SEAL teams, right?
Right.
So they got out. We all got out. I was doing sales at a financial company, and then they started their company, Echelon Front, leadership and management consulting company. And they were giving combat leadership briefs, workshops, seminars, long-term programs with companies all throughout the United States and the world. Then they wrote their book called Extreme Ownership, How U.S.
Amazing book.
Yeah. It's really,
Yeah.
So when their book came out, I remember I got it, and I had read it like 3 times before I even became a part of their team. It's underlined and highlighted, dog-eared, all that stuff, right? And, they were getting bigger and bigger and busier and busier, and they're actually turning down gigs, right? Because they just couldn't do them.
Right.
And they knew I was doing stuff with my company. I left the financial company, started my own company, Never Settle Consulting. And I was just doing like team building events and working with management and leadership and teaching shooting, and, just doing whatever I could to pay the bills.
Right.
Try to figure out my thing, right?
Yeah, right.
And, Jocko and I are very close. We always have stayed in touch over the years. And he's like, hey, man, just want to let you know, I think we're getting to the point where we're going to need to bring on other guys. So I don't know if you're interested or not, but we have this event in San Diego. If you want to come out, it's called the Muster. It's a 2-day leadership thing that we have going on. If you can make your way out there, let me know, right? And it's funny because at the time, as you've experienced before in business, there was a nice little lull and we had nothing going on.
Right.
Which means we had no money in our account.
Right.
And we were racking up a lot of debt very quickly.
Right.
And I had a potential gig overseas at $1,000 a day for 70 days. For us, that was
fuck yeah,
life-changing, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And then Jocko literally calls that same day, and I'm like,
yeah.
Where it was like, he's like, you know, I can't guarantee anything. If you can make your way out here, cool. If you like what we're doing, we'll talk about the future. You know, it might be 1 gig or it could be 52 gigs next year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And I'm like, all right, well, this is definitely going to be a big leap of faith. You know, I trust in God, and I know his guidance has always been correct. And so I call Amanda, and I'm like, hey, here's the deal. And she knew about that $1,000 a day gig. Like, we needed that.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Bad. We
Yeah.
just needed $1,000.
Yeah, right,
let
right,
alone times 70. Right?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, but Jocko and Leif, and she goes, you know the answer.
Yeah.
She goes, Jocko and Leif will never, ever steer you in the wrong direction. Those are the only 2 people out there, probably.
Not only that, with the mentality that they have, they're never going to fucking fail.
Exactly. And
Right.
that was the other thing, you know. And she's like, you need to go to San Diego.
Yeah.
And so
that's awesome.
and we're broke.
Yeah.
Like, trying to figure out, okay, how do I make my way to San Diego?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Dude,
okay.
but that's the kind of people, and I'm just going to go off a little bit on this right now because I've experienced this recently with some people that I'm close with. Dude, you have to, when you're making decisions about your life and you're at that pivot point, you've got to be able to paint the picture for yourself and see. And dude, you know, it would have been real easy for you to say yes to that 70 grand and be on a totally different path than you are now. You know what I mean? But I bet you would tell everybody listening that you're on a much better path now because you didn't take the easy thing. You know what I mean?
100%.
Right.
Know, and I actually get like kind of sick to my stomach sometimes when I think about, man, if I would have done that,
dude.
Because I told Jocko,
I got a story like that too, man.
Hey, I potentially have this gig, and Jocko said, hey man, he's like, I'm never gonna do anything to take money out of your pocket. You've got to provide for your family. But the key word he said is like, you know, hopefully we can link up back again in the future and make something happen. And I was like, man, I'm not letting this slip away. Right. And so I was headed out to Texas to teach shooting for my buddy with his company. And it was right around that time. And it was actually, I was going to be teaching during those 2 days of the muster. And I called him. It's my buddy Steve with Gray Fox Industries. An awesome dude, right? He's always been one of those true buddies of mine as well. I'm like, hey, Steve, I have this opportunity to go work with Jocko and Leif in San Diego for some potential stuff in the future. But those are the days I'm going to be supposed to be teaching your classes. And he goes, I can get a replacement. You need to be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you sure? He goes, yeah. He's like, dude, I would never want you not to go do that. I'm like, cool. So I go out to Texas and I teach for a couple of days, right? And then I go from there to San Diego, right? And from Dallas to San Diego, the flights were much cheaper, and I had enough points to cover my trip out there and back with Southwest.
Yeah.
And so we make our way out there. And it was funny, like we laugh about it now, because when I first showed up to volunteer and help out, like I'm meeting Jamie, who's our director of operations, and all the other volunteers, and I see Jocko and Leif, you know, and I'm helping getting stuff set up. I'm like, oh, what's all this stuff for? And they're like, oh, these are the welcome bags for, you know, the attendees. And I'm like, cool. They have like Warrior bars and like from On It and all these like really good products and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, are we able to have some? Like, yeah, you can take some, take whatever you want. That's extra. I'm like, cool. There's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for all three. You know, I'm literally taking like granola and like nuts and stuff for like to eat while I'm there. Yeah. Because just I didn't have the money. Yeah. We didn't have the money at the time, right? And the muster, you know, it's a 2-day leadership event that's just super intensive. It's just it's real. We talk about the lessons that we learned in Ramadi, the Battle of Ramadi of 2006. We talk about what we did as Task Unit Bruiser from SEAL Team 3, the soldiers and Marines that we worked with. It's an in-depth, no bullshit leadership seminar. It's not like Jocko and those guys say, hey, if you're looking to come build vision boards, this isn't the place.
Right. It's like, practical.
There are no theories.
Right.
It's all practical.
And that shit has its place. I mean, I get it, but like, because I talk about it too, but there's a difference between framing and then executing.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and they know that there's a place for that,
Right.
obviously. And there's nothing bad if you have a vision board.
No.
I've had them over the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not what we bring to the table.
No, I get it. Yeah, it's practical.
The SEAL teams know how
Yeah.
to execute, take
Right.
action, how to dominate.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to bring to the table. You know, the lessons that we learned in combat, how you can apply those lessons to your personal and professional lives to win.
So, dude, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this because I'm dying to get into this a little bit. Bud School, all right?
Okay.
You show up. How old are you? You're young? You're 18?
18, 19 years
Okay.
old, yeah.
Dude, like, all right. So you watch all these fucking movies, you know, G.I. Jane and like all these, the movies about,
Yeah.
You know, they all have their versions of Bud Schools. What's it really like, dude? Like, is it as hard as people say it is, or like what, like, what's it like?
Okay.
Like, were you fucking scared the first day you show up? You're like nervous?
I mean, well, yeah, I'm
I would
actually
be.
nervous. You
Yeah.
know, I think everybody's nervous,
Yeah.
but I was confident in my abilities. Like, and I knew, and I was so proud to be there.
Yeah.
You know, that's the
Yeah.
other thing is because a lot of guys can't even get to buds.
Right,
like,
right.
Get selected, pass the screen test. So just the fact that I was there, I was
Is it
proud.
all physical testing to get in?
Physical and a little bit of mental.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And so the thing with buds, and we can talk about buds and everything else like that, but honestly, I'm not going to waste the time on the podcast because here's the thing. Everything you hear about buds is true. You're cold, you're wet, you're tired, you're miserable. Yes, it is the hardest military training in the world. So what?
Yeah.
It goes on. The evolutions will end,
Yeah.
you know? And getting through buds was all about your mindset. You know, you just have to change your mindset. I remember sitting on the beach, looking down at the Coronado condos.
Dude, I fucking stayed there and watched these motherfuckers train.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I felt like such a pussy staying at the fucking Coronado. Because, dude, the Coronado's like the nicest
Yeah, the
hotel in
hotel
San
at
Diego.
Coronado, yeah.
And it's right there next to Bud School. And
Yeah.
like, I was out there just like 2 years ago. And I remember I was getting tattooed because my guy, we do private sessions.
Yeah.
And I'm getting tattooed for like 3 or 4 days. And like, I'm like, fuck, I'm getting tired of this. And I look out on the fucking beach and I see these motherfuckers in the water and it's cold.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, I'm a pussy. Like, I felt like such a pussy, like watching those guys train and then, you know, feeling bad about my tattoo hurting. You know what I mean?
Well, it's just, but here's the thing. It's just a mindset. And that's, that's what I tell people is like, yeah, buds sucks. Absolutely. But here's the thing. Buds is an absolute joke compared to actual combat.
Yeah.
So when people only talk about buds, if that's all they have to talk about,
Yeah. They don't even know. I got it.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
I
there's
got
some
it.
good guys out there.
Yeah.
But if their story is only about buds,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like, buds is nothing compared to combat.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now,
Yeah,
buds
yeah.
is it's a joke compared to combat.
Yeah.
You know, and buds is it's a selection program. That's all it is.
So,
you know?
dude-
it's just mentally weeding you out. So you know those condos right next to the Hotel Del that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
stayed at.
Yeah.
Back then, I was told that they start for $5 million a piece.
Yeah.
Right. So my mindset going through buds was, hey, guess what? I have the same view that they do because our barracks are right there on the beach.
Yeah.
I have the same ocean, the same beach, the same view.
Yeah.
And I'm getting paid to stay there.
Yeah.
And so going through buds, I just changed my mindset.
Yeah.
Instead of saying we have to go for a 4-mile timed run, we get to go for a 4-mile
That's right.
timed run.
That's
I'm
right.
getting paid to work out. That
That's
was
right.
my mindset.
And that's the fucking difference between people who make it through and people who don't, I would imagine. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I've had absolute physical studs that show up to buds that were in the Junior Olympics that
Yeah.
are the first ones to quit.
It's amazing
Division
what perspective does.
Yep, Division I
Yeah.
collegiate athletes quitting the first week,
Yeah.
right? And you know, all it is just a mindset. So
Right.
I changed my mindset, whereas I get to do this instead
Right.
of saying I have to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just change that mindset for anything in life,
I
it
agree.
makes the difference,
Yeah.
right? Here's the other thing. When we're sitting in the water, all cold, wet, tired, you know, just miserable, shaking, look down the beach, there are kids that are playing in that same ocean all day
Exactly.
long that you can't get out.
Right. Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Because their mindset, they're having fun, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I did in buds. I
Yeah.
had fun with it.
That's awesome, dude.
And here's the other like little insight. What do most college teams and professional teams do after a really hard workout? They take an ice bath.
Yeah. So you're recovering in the ocean.
Exactly.
And people don't realize that.
People don't
realize that the ocean at fucking in San Diego, California, if you've never been there, it's cold. You don't get in the fucking ocean. like you go kids ankle do, deep. But real normal sane adults don't fucking get in.
No.
Like you're just drinking your $12 beer on the fucking beach.
Exactly.
you know.
And here's the other thing is fatigue makes cowards of us all, right? So when did they always make us go get wet and sandy? During regular evolutions, right? But when did they always go make us, for the most part, just sit in the surf zone after a really hard evolution?
Yeah.
Right? And of course, they're not telling you that that's for recovery.
Right.
You're going out there.
They're telling you it's for punishment so they can weed you out.
They call it surf torture.
Yeah.
So who's like, oh, this is going to be awesome because you're being told that it's surf torture. We're torturing you.
Right.
When in reality,
it's helping you recover.
If they did not make us do that, people's bodies physically could not go through all the physical work that we do through buds without sitting in that cold water.
Right? I love it, dude.
And so it's just changing your mindset. And I remember when that clicked for me, I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is fun.
And
I made it a game. So, I made it through buds, and then you go through SQT, which is SEAL qualification training, right? And hey, buds is legit. Hell Week is 5.5 days straight, no sleep, all physical activities.
Yeah.
You have people quitting left and right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm there's no might. I mean, I know I'm slightly sadistic when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like I thrive off of people quitting around me.
I do too.
I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. And yeah, hey, you may be a great person.
Dude, I get this. Cool. You're programmed to operate from the dark side, just like I am. I get it. Like, so totally understand that mentality.
I mean, I just love that in buds, and so, I wasn't a great athlete. I just was in the very middle of the pack. I will say I was blessed to be a very good and strong swimmer.
Yeah.
So on the days that we swam in buds, 2-mile open ocean water swims, I'd usually always come in at like first, second, or third with my swim partner, so I had more time to recover and lay around.
Yeah.
So I was lucky. I was a really strong swimmer. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the strongest. I'm just really good at suffering.
Yeah.
I can just I go somewhere else mentally, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I've heard you guys talk about this before. Like, I thrive off of doing stuff that people complain about.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like to go work out legs?
Yeah.
I want to go work out legs now.
Yeah.
Like, you don't like to do sprints? Well, guess what? Now we're going to do sprints and squats.
Sal's like that too. Sal's butt wired like that.
I'm a little similar, and I'm not as sadistic as you, but on the days that I don't want to train, I tell Andy this all the time. Like, I'll go purposely train legs because I know I'll get the most out of that workk versus going doing like
dude, it goes back to our test days podcast.
Workout.
You look at everything as a test when you're feeling like you're not sure about your abilities or what you should do, then you should go fucking do that thing right now.
Yeah. Just like Jocko says, like, don't think about it, just act.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to think about it?
Right.
Just go act out of discipline.
Yeah, right.
So I'd love to flesh out the details
and wait,
bit more.
And that people don't understand that discipline is a skill that you can add to by doing exactly what you just said. I talked about this Sunday at the meeting. Discipline is a muscle. And to get discipline, you got to do things that require discipline. 100%. And that means whenever you feel like, hey, I'm laying on the couch at the end of the day and I worked all day at your pussified job and you're feeling lazy and, you don't want to go lift because you're being a bitch, guess what? You should get up and go fucking lift. And I say that because a year and a half ago, I was 330 fucking pounds and just as big of a bitch as you probably are right now. So the way I've built my discipline back up is by catching myself in those moments and saying, dude, you're being a pussy. It's time to go and get up and go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, you said you would lock in and you go somewhere mentally. You go, choose your place. So what is that for you? Like, we're talking about mental toughness. You said you'd go somewhere.
I just wouldn't allow that pain and discomfort to be real. I just would lock it out. Like, I would just think about like my brother and my sister and my parents, like just not letting them down. You know what I mean? Like my uncles and aunts that I looked up to and our nation had been attacked. I knew there was service members that had been killed overseas fighting terrorists. And what am I going to do? Be complaining about some stupid discomfort and like false thing that's in my mind that I'm allowing to be there? No. And so I would just shut it off. Okay, I'm claustrophobic and I have a huge fear of drowning. Yeah, go to buds and be a Navy SEAL. That's a legit idea, right?
Yeah.
And people are like, wait, how did you even make that happen? Well, because I realized that fear of drowning and me being claustrophobic was something that I brought onto myself. And yes, it's legit. I still like, if I'm at a party with friends and we're in the pool and people start roughhousing, I get out. Like
Right.
I'm not comfortable because I don't want one of my buddies coming up behind me and putting his arm around my neck. And I'm going to be like, cool, well, guess what? Now you're going to the bottom of the pool. I'm going to drown you.
Yeah.
Just because that's my reaction.
Right, right.
I'm not comfortable with that. I don't like it at all. But yet, in Buds, they have this little thing called drown proofing, where they tie your hands behind your back and tie your feet together and black out a mask and put it on you. And you have to do all this stuff. And, you're doing stuff on breath holds. And yes, absolutely terrifying for somebody who's claustrophobic and have fear of drowning. However, I was not going to allow that fear to take away from what I wanted to accomplish.
Right.
I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I wanted to go overseas and kill terrorists. So that's exactly what I was going to do. So I just had to get past that little discomfort and uneasiness.
So, dude, first of all, I think it's awesome. This is awesome shit because the mentality that it takes to be successful in anything is very similar to, it's exactly similar. It's exactly the same as what you're saying, what it took for you to overcome those things that you weren't comfortable with. Sometimes when we deal with people, especially in business world, and they think about success and they think about building a company and they think about, guys, this is all easy shit. It's about taking control of your fucking mind and building some discipline.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's taking control of your mind, discipline, and taking action.
Right.
Just doing it. And you say this all the time, and I tell people all the time, hey, success isn't a financial thing.
Right.
Do you think I was really wealthy in the military?
No, it's not.
No,
it's not a
but
financial
guess
thing.
what? Do you think I was successful? I feel that I was successful.
You were.
You know what I mean?
Dude.
So that's the thing.
That's why we always say in the podcast, it's not, when I say success, because of the way I present myself and I show the financial success, people think I'm talking about money, and I'm not. I'm talking about whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to be the best video game fucking player in the world. That's successful.
Yeah.
But the principles of being successful, no matter where, fitness, the military, business, video gaming, whatever, they're the same.
Absolutely.
And dude, most people can't master their mind in a way like, and that's what I respect and I love about guys who have become SEALs, and when I talk to them, I met a number of them, their ability to take control of their mind and change perspectives so that they can operate in a functional way. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really, really cool. Dude, let's talk about, so you're 18 years old, you made it through Buds, you go through, you become a SEAL.
Yep.
All right. You're going to war.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about that. Your first mission where you had to really do something, you had to shoot at people and shit.
So I make it through SQT, and our SQT instructors, some of them had just been coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, so they're actually instead of the other instructors that have been hey, this is what we did in training, these are guys that are come back from actual war.
I mean, dude, is it okay for me to ask that? Because I have friends, this is it's a taboo thing. People don't, you talk to some guys in the military, and most guys, they don't talk about actual shit that happened. And I'm always curious, but I'm afraid to ask, but I'm just going to fucking ask you because I want to hear it.
Well, I'll answer what I answer. And if I'm not comfortable, I'll just straight up tell you, but I'm not going to talk about it. I have no problem with it. So my first deployment, we were doing PSD, right? Well, we were training to do the typical Navy SEAL mission, right? The capture kill mission, super cool, sneak in at night, blow open the front door, go get them. If if they have a weapon, shoot them in the face, cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then we're getting close to deploying, and it's oh, hey, guess what? You guys are taking over the PSD mission, which is personal security detail.
Okay.
We're babysitting of adults, right?
Okay.
So we're in charge of keeping the top, 6-7 dignitaries safe in Iraq working with the Army and the Marine Corps, during the election time frame. Was that the cool, typical Navy SEAL job that we want to do? Nope. But you know what? It was our job. And we did our job to the absolute best of our ability.
Right.
So we come back from that deployment, and guys are happy because, hey, nothing happened. No major incidences happened. But then the insurgency started to rise, right? And things were getting bad. The Blackwater ambush and just different stuff like that.
You're getting some real pushback.
Yeah. So, well, the thing is that these little street punks and thugs and Saddam's little guys that we're dealing with started to get some leadership, right? Leadership, whether it's a good or bad organization, makes a difference.
Yeah.
Now they had some funding, some organization, And one of my buds instructors, Instructor Young, great guy, loved him, awesome instructor, became buddies with him. He was, he gets out and he goes and contracts, and he was a part of that Blackwater ambush. And I remember hearing about the fact that he was lit on fire and hung from a bridge.
Holy shit.
After they ambushed them. Yeah, look up the Blackwater ambush. I mean,
This is one of your instructors.
Yeah, I knew him. Right. And
Holy
so
fuck.
I remember hearing that happened, and I was like, just furious, right?
Yeah.
And we just knew things were getting worse overseas, right? And that's when Jocko came into the picture for our task unit. New change of leadership, and he brought on this mindset of just training for war, to win the fight, and just that's what we were doing, right? We were going to war. We knew it. And I remember we get over to Ramadi. It's 2006, and we're doing our first, let me back up a little bit. So we get to Ramadi, and I remember one of the higher ups.
Wait, so just to clarify, your first tour on the personal security detail was
in Iraq,
and then you
the
came
election
back.
campaign. Then I come back.
Okay,
we're
and then
doing
you went
another
back.
workup.
So
Yeah.
when you come back, you're probably thinking hey, that's no big deal.
Well, yeah, we're like, oh, that was cool.
Right.
We're gone for 6 months.
So, but now
Big
all this
deal.
shit starts happening, and you're like, all right.
Yeah, well, it was something different. We
Right.
knew it was gonna be different, and that's when we're going through the workup, and they're like, hey, we need guys to go to sniper school. Before I could even raise my hand, they're like, Dinnell, you're going. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So I went through sniper school. I was one of our snipers in our task unit in my platoon, and so we make it through that workup. We do really well. We absolutely crush it because of our just mindset of just taking ownership and just all the stuff that Jocko brought to the table. And so we get overseas, and I remember one of the higher up SEAL officers is like, hey, guys, we don't know what the deployment's going to be like. You might not ever fire your gun, but, that's, we're here to, do whatever we need to do work-wise. And guys are like, all right, yeah, roger that, whatever, right? That night, our base got attacked, and every team guy was up on the rooftop of the buildings that we stayed in a gunfight.
Holy shit.
And I remember,
right after they tell you, hey,
the
it's
same
chill.
day, he's like,
Yeah.
you might not ever touch your gun, right? And guys are shooting their whole loadout that they had up on a rooftop.
Holy fuck.
It's in the middle of the night. Guys are literally, we're all online on this rooftop. And I remember, because we hear that the base is being attacked, right? And I was just getting ready to go to bed. And so I have my little silky runny shorts on, right?
The Derek White of shorts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I have my little silky.
I'll get you a pair when you're here.
Okay. Yeah. I love that you guys have those.
Yeah.
I think that's so legit.
Yeah.
So so I have those on. I throw my boots on, right? I throw my desert
So
jungle boots on.
so you run up on the fucking rooftop in your underwear and your fucking boots.
They're not underwear, they're running shorts.
They're shorter than underwear.
Yeah, they're shorter than underwear.
That is awesome.
So I have that on, my boots, I put my body armor on, helmet with night vision, and run up there with my gun.
That's
right?
fucking awesome.
And you look around and guys are in flip-flops and shorts,
Yeah.
carrying their body armor in one arm,
Yeah.
gun in the other.
Yeah.
And we're just getting after it. And I remember my buddy comes up to the left side of me. I didn't realize that he was that close to me, right? And he has a machine gun. And he opens up, and all that linking and brass just hits my whole left side.
and it's burning you
I
up.
have no clothes on,
Yeah.
right? And it's getting in my body armor, and I'm like, it's burning me.
You're doing a fucking wiggle
my
dance.
whole left leg was bleeding, man,
Yeah.
because that link was hitting me so hard and so fast, just cut
Oh,
up
so
my
he
whole
was
left.
right on you. Yeah.
Yeah, jackass.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing you weren't exactly tan either at this point, right? So you got these white pasty legs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, I'm Irish and Scottish. I don't tan anyways.
You would fucking ask a question like that.
I was gonna say
Fucking
Well, I'm just saying,
weirdo.
that's kind of
No, absolutely.
What's a
the
tan
same-
have to do with fucking machine gun fight, bro?
you stick
fuck?
out, do you not?
I'm glad he said that and I didn't.
Oh my god!
No, I get it.
Everybody, go comment on Tyler's page about this. Jesus.
But,
Anyway,
so
don't mind him.
no, it's awesome. But and so that was our first night, right?
Yeah.
And then so we find out, that we're going to be headed over to the eastern side of the Malab district.
So it happened so fast you didn't have time to think about it. It wasn't like we're going on this mission and I gotta
No, there was
it's snap and then
dude, our
you're
base
fucking
is
going.
being attacked.
Yeah.
The guys are grabbing what they
But
can.
that's a different thing than somebody who has to go there and then you're going on a mission. You know there's going to be shit and you have time to think about it. It's kind of like baptism by fire. It's probably a good thing for you.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
And the really cool part about it is I remember afterwards everyone's just all smiling and just high-fiving each other.
Yeah.
And we
Like they just shot off a fucking awesome fireworks show. Fuck, that was awesome.
Yeah. It was nobody thought we didn't have to think about what we were doing.
Yeah.
We reacted because our training was just so solid.
That's
right?
awesome.
And so I remember, the next day we're headed out to the Malab district, and it's hot, man. Like, it's, even though it's April, like it's hot over there, and we're riding in the Humvees, and I could just smell the diesel fuel, and just we're riding down Route Michigan, which at the time is the most dangerous road in the world. Like, we're told, hey, there are constant IEDs, ambushes. Like, you can't drive from the west side to the east side without being attacked. Like, that's just how Route Michigan was, right? Because when we showed up to Ramadi, we linked up with a reserve unit out of Pennsylvania, the 228, right? Their National Guard unit. They had been there for 14 months, and they only controlled less than a third of the city.
Holy shit.
Like, Ramadi at that time was the most dangerous neighborhood in the world. It had the highest concentration of enemy fighters. And, there was a Marine unit that pushed down a road in Ramadi, and in 500 yards, they hit 13 different IEDs.
Holy shit.
I mean, the area was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And the task unit that we were replacing told us, hey, if you guys go there, if you push into that area, everybody's going to die. And our bosses are like, good, that's where we're going. Not because they wanted us, obviously, to die or be wounded or hurt.
No, but that's where the problem was.
Exactly.
Right.
What do you accomplish from the sidelines in life?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. You want to win the game, you have to step foot on the field.
That's right.
And for us, that was a field.
And dude, you
we're
know
not
what's
gonna
funny?
Sit around.
No, and the funny thing is that it's the exact opposite of how most people handle their fucking problems. Most people know where the big problem is, and they look the other fucking way.
Yeah.
And even within themselves, they're afraid to look at themselves or analyze themselves and say, all right, this is the problem I have. This is what I. Instead, they just fucking look the other way, go have beers with their bros, and pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And that's why you're not getting anywhere.
Exactly. And it wasn't that the other unit over there like thought that way. They just what they were doing wasn't working, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't have the proper training and gear and anything. They're a National Guard unit, right? And dude, when
They're
we
sending
showed
them
up
in to get fucking slaughtered.
when we showed up, we were honored to work with them.
Yeah.
I mean, they were hardened combat warriors,
Yeah.
right? And we were there to help and assist and do whatever we needed, right? And so what we were going to do is we were going to do a push. We were basically clearing house to house through Ramadi.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's the only way to win.
Yeah, that's what they talk about in the American Sniper movie.
Yeah. So that's what we were doing. So
When
we were
Chris
going
Kyle
out.
comes down and joins the guys.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you're talking about, right?
Is he? If
In the movie,
if he's talking about Ramadi, then yes.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's
because
where
they also did that in Fallujah. He was on the streets.
Okay,
of
maybe it
Fallujah,
is.
you
Yeah.
know. Either way,
But he
that's
was
how
your
you have to
counterpart,
win.
by the way, right?
Yeah. So Chris was the lead sniper and point man in Charlie Platoon, and I was the lead sniper and point man in Delta Platoon.
Yeah,
so
that's
we were each
cool.
other. So if you've read his book or listened to his movie, like
You did. That's what you did.
well, so when they're teasing him about the young sniper catching up to him,
Yeah.
that was me.
Yeah. Oh, that is
So,
good.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so they told, so we were told, hey, don't go there. It's unwinnable. Everyone's going to die. And we're like, okay, that's bullshit. Like, we need to go there. We're going to go there, right? And the enemy was so used to them being able to rape, torture, and murder the local innocent populace, right? Because nobody was there. The
Right.
U.S. forces wouldn't go there because they get slaughtered.
Yeah.
So instead of them getting to hunt, we started hunting them.
Right.
Like, legitimately.
Yeah.
Like, we brought the fight to them. We cleared house to house to house with these amazing National Guard soldiers that had minimal training, improper gear, but were making
willing
it
to work.
happen,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And then so they were replaced about a month later with the 11 AD, and they're an armored division. So it's tanks, right? And so now we had tanks. Like, oh, cool. You guys
Yeah.
want to mess around? We got tanks.
Right. Yeah.
And
that pretty much solves any fucking problem. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what problem on earth. If the solution is we got tanks, you fucking won.
yeah. So we have tanks, and we have Navy SEAL snipers and Navy SEAL machine gunners that are bringing the fight to you.
Yeah.
Like, you're all gonna die.
You're fucked. Right.
Yeah. And so, just the soldiers and Marines that we worked with, like, we were truly honored and humbled to work for them because, hey, it's their battle space. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we worked for them. We were to support them. That's all. That's all, right? And so, when I work with different companies with Echelon Front, this is kind of part of what we talk about is, the Battle of Ramadi and what we did, And so I remember we're driving out to the eastern side. We're going to this forward operating base. and it's just nighttime. I'm just sensory overload, right? I can smell the diesel fuel. You know, we're on night vision, just sweat's just dripping down my face. You know, just scan, you know, they're, you know, people's invisible lasers, you can see them under night vision, scanning the roads. You know, we're going super slow because they have to check for IEDs, and they're digging up IEDs that they, you know, it took us forever.
Yeah, and the whole time, right? You know that at any moment you're fucking standing still target.
100%. Right. And so we finally make it out there, and I remember making it in through the front gate, and we're going to this building, and Full Metal Jacket, and it's just this old blown out building. Like you think from the old war movies that you've seen.
Yeah.
It's just an old blown out
like that
rubble
scene
building.
in Full Metal Jacket where there's the girl sniper.
Yeah. So
okay,
there's just blown out buildings and all this crap, and so that's where we're going to be, and that's, you know, we're going to be staying there with some you know, soldiers and Marines. You know, it's all built up with sandbags, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like I'm just like beyond like, this is exactly what I've wanted to do my whole life.
That's fucking nuts, man.
And so I remember we get there and we're all in this one room, right? Our whole task unit's in this one room. Everyone's on cots. When I get home, man, I'll send you a picture of just that living condition. When I show people that, they're like, that's where you guys lived?
Bro, I want to hear all of this shit.
Yeah,
like,
it was awesome. And so I remember we're prepping to go out the next day because we're doing a push. And what we're doing is we're going in waves, right? Like one, you know, Alpha will go first, then Bravo, then Charlie. Then after Charlie, Alpha goes back out again. Right. And we're just continuously doing this push for 72 hours. Like that's all we're doing is just to say, hey, guess what?
Here we're
are. Here.
Yeah.
And we ain't leaving.
Yeah.
Because.
And it's a relentless show of force.
Exactly.
Right.
Because the 1-1 AD brought this new perspective of, hey, guess what? We're going to build combat outposts in the city. And we're going to live in the city with the local populace while we push through, while we provide stability to them as we win this battle, right? Because, hey, what they were doing before wasn't working. Could work.
Right.
Like, let's switch it up, right? Like, quit doing the same thing over and over and over and over if it doesn't work.
Right.
So we brought this new perspective to the team. And so...
Well, it seems like a good strategy. I mean, like, I don't know a lot about military tactics, but I mean, if you can figure out a way to constantly have pressure on them, it's... Well, when they can't do that.
Exactly.
You know, they got to sleep sometimes. They got to eat sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and if you keep a constant flow of force, it makes sense.
And we literally pushed house to house.
Yeah.
Like alleyway to alleyway. And every day we went out, we were in a gunfight.
Yeah.
Like it was guaranteed. Like we were doing daytime.
You guys were shooting motherfuckers every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I'm sitting over here smiling. Like, it sounds fucking awesome to me. And I know there's like some people here that listen to the podcast and they're like, you know, idealists and sensitive people, and they'll probably say, dude, you're fucking fucked up. But yeah, you know what? I might be, but I think it's awesome too.
But no. So here's the thing that would be messed up about that.
Yeah.
Is if we were just out there killing people to kill people.
No, I get it.
But we're killing evil people.
Right.
That are killing.
No, like in the fucking movie where they drill that kid's fucking head and shit. I'm sure that's probably like some of the nicer shit they did. You know what I mean? So, you know, dude, let me ask you this, because I got to ask, like, you're 19, 20 years old, okay? You're over there serving, and you're in a gunfight with these motherfuckers all over. You know, there's people all over, and you got to fucking kill people.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind? Like, for real? Because
no. So my first deployment, I was like 18, 19, 20.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think people want to know that. Like, people are curious about how people think in that situation.
So I turned 23 the month before we went over there to Ramadi, right? This was my second deployment. I just turned 23. I'm our lead sniper, our point man, machine gunner. And there was times where, like what you're asking, I'm in the middle of a gunfight, right?
Right.
Like literally a couple times we were ambushed. Guys are getting shot up. I'm in the middle of a gunfight, and people are always like, hey, are you thinking about your family or people back home? I'm like, no. There are a lot of more bad guys that I need to kill before I go home. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. It's the mission focus.
It makes sense to me, man.
That's exactly what I'm thinking about.
Because if you fucking think about all the other shit that people think they would think about, you'd be fucking dead.
Exactly, because that creates hesitation.
Right.
And in a gunfight, on the battlefield, you have enough things going on that are not in your benefit as it is. The fog of war is real. So if you are slightly distracted at any one point in time, you can get yourself killed, or even worse, the guy to your left and right killed.
Yeah.
You have to remain focused. And my whole thing on that deployment was killing bad guys. That's my only thought. And saving innocent people. I mean, the changes that we made in Ramadi was truly remarkable.
Right.
You know? And the soldiers that we worked with, the Marines that we worked with, laid it all out on the line. and they made a difference, and we're just honored to be there with them.
Well, so dude, let's tie in. Okay, let's tie that in, that mentality, because I think that mentality is so crucial to have in business. Okay, you're saying, and this is what I'm hearing when you say that, and I already knew the answer to that question before I asked it, by the way, but I had to ask it because I know people are curious. And when you are in a situation in life and you're trying to accomplish something, you're trying to be successful, being successful at anything, and you tell me if you disagree, because you work with a lot of companies, you're a very seasoned consultant, you know, you've done a lot of leadership training, but you have to be focused on the task at hand at all times. It can't be, I'm going to spread a little bit of energy here, I'm going to worry about this over here, I'm going to worry about what my girlfriend says, I'm going to worry about what this person says. No, fuck all that shit, dude. You've got to focus on what the problem is and fix it.
Yeah, 100%. The last muster that we had in San Diego, you know, I talked about that, the mission focus, being focused on the mission, you know, and, you know, I actually have the domains that I bought because I want to do something with it, with Echelon Front, with what we do is mission first mindset, right?
Yeah.
The mission comes first. If you maintain that mindset, you will achieve success.
There's no question.
Like, I mean, and that's why
there's no question.
That's why I was like, what can I do with
But JP, that's where people screw up, because I get so many, I mean, dude, you know, we've got a huge podcast. We've got an awesome following, but so many of my questions are related to what we're talking about right now. Just as we spoke to an awesome guy on the phone right before this podcast, but I'm going to use him as an example. He kind of wants to do this. He kind of wants to do that. He kind of this. And what do we tell him? Said, bro, you got to get fucking focused and you got to stay focused on this. And so many people fuck up their whole lives because their girlfriend at the time, who's probably going to be a temporary person in your life, let's just factually talk about statistically, okay, is telling them one thing, and their best friend is telling this other thing, and then this person's telling that. And all that shit's distracting from something that could be an awesome, amazing opportunity. It causes you to fumble the ball. Yeah. You know, and when you're out in a battle, it's no different. Dude, if you think about, you know, the fight you just had with your wife because you haven't been home in months, or you know, your dad and your family, which I know you're very close with, and you're thinking about these things, dude, you're gonna get fucking killed. And it's over then. It's over. You don't have a chance to recover.
So and that comes down, I mean, and dude, we legitimately could talk about this for 12 hours.
Oh, dude, we believe me, if we could cut this into 2 parts too. So like, I don't want to, dude, you could bring so much good value. I just don't want to cut it short.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm here for as long. But so let me piggyback on that.
Yeah.
Is making sure you have the right support system, right?
Right.
So my parents knew that Ramadi was just an absolute bloody battle, right? It was all over the news, the Battle of Ramadi, right?
Right.
And I feel bad now that I think that you know, my parents knew that's where I was going. Think about it that.
And not only that, you're like right in the fucking middle of it. It's not like you were some desk.
Dude,
you know?
There was pictures on the news.
Yeah.
Of us on rooftops in firefights.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's agonizing to them.
They know. They're like, wait, is that JP? No, that's not JP, but that's his buddies. Like they know those people, right? So they're seeing all this. So I say that to paint the picture of having the right support system, right? My parents had a lot of bad things happen to them while I was deployed to Ramadi. Guess how much of it I heard about?
0.
None.
Yeah.
None, right? And I'm talking some messed up stuff.
Yeah. Well, just knowing the little bit you've shared about your dad, I mean, there's no way.
I didn't hear about any. I was so mad at my parents when I came home and I finally figured out what was going on. I'm like, why? And they're like, because you had other things to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have to remain focused, right? You have to have that mission first mindset. What is your mission, right? Now, do you believe in the mission? You have to believe in your mission.
Yeah.
Now, to tie that together with that is, do you understand why you're doing what you're doing? Like, what is your why? And I know you guys talk about this a lot.
Right.
What is your why? What drives you? What gets you out of bed?
Right. Do you want to do this because you think you're supposed to do this, or do you want to do this because it means something to you in another way, or you're going to leave a legacy, if you're going to make an impact, or it's something that you want? Because so many people, dude, they don't know why they're doing what the fuck they're doing, because they're doing shit because they think they're supposed to.
Exactly.
You know, and if you're doing things because you think you're supposed to do them, you're not going to be very successful because you don't have the passion behind it.
You can't, you know, we talk about this, you know, it's in the book Extreme Ownership. We talk about it with companies. You know, a big thing was decentralized command, right? A lot of people are like, well, we tried that. It just doesn't work. No, you're doing it the wrong way. Right? you can't properly execute decentralized command if your team doesn't understand why they're doing what you're telling them to do. The reason why we were so successful in Ramadi is because we knew why we were doing what we're doing, and we believed in it. And there, I still have emails in my account from buddies that are like, "What are you guys doing? Like, why are you guys doing daytime presence patrols with the Army? That's not what Navy SEALs do."
Right.
Well, guess what? There was a job to be done.
We do what we fucking have to do.
We believed in the mission.
Right.
And that, and so that's what we were doing.
Right.
And so if you believe in what you're doing and you understand why you're doing it, that's going to push you past all the distractions, allow you to become laser-like focused, and push out all the other stuff. And guess what? If you have that girlfriend that's not supporting you, or that boyfriend that's not supporting you in you accomplishing your goals and dreams, I'm telling you right now, get rid of them.
Dude.
Get rid of them as fast as you can. I had a kid reach out to me on Instagram, which I think is awesome. I have a lot of guys that reach out to me like, "Hey, I'm thinking about being a Navy SEAL. What do you think about this?" And I'll give them what guidance I can. And one of them was like, "Yeah, I've been with my girlfriend, and she's just not very, supportive of me joining the military." And I'm like, "Cool, break up with her." He goes, "But I love her." I'm like, "Okay, well, do you want to be in the military?" He goes, "More than anything." I'm like, "Go break up with her tonight." Because I'm telling you right now, if she's not supportive of you joining the military, which is a very admirable job to go do in the first place, it's not like you're saying, "Hey, I want to go deal drugs." And she's like, "Honey, I don't agree with that."
Right.
You're saying you want to serve your country and be a Navy SEAL, and she doesn't support you. I'm telling you right now, she will not bring anything to the table in the long term.
Not only that, dude, not only will she not bring anything to the table, she'll take away from you. And you have to be with somebody who, and dude, we could do a whole thing on relationships. But dude, I see this. Dude, I see more young guys and more young girls ruin their fucking futures because of girlfriends and boyfriends than anything else.
Yeah.
And dude, you have to realize those people at 22 years old or 23 years old or 25 years old or 27 years old are likely temporary. You've got to do what's right for you. And, not only should you not have somebody in your life that's nagging and taking you away, not believing, you should have somebody in your life that's fucking pushing you to be better.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. Have you ever met anybody who was questionable about breaking up with somebody and then they did? Have they ever regretted it?
No.
Yeah, only if they didn't get laid for the next 3 months because they had no game and they're like, "Fuck, I wish I still had that pussy around." I mean, let's be real. That's the reason guys regret it. It's not because they regret being with the person. It's because they're not getting laid.
Right.
That's the truth.
I've never, exactly to your point. I've never met anybody that's like, "Man, I really regret breaking up with that person." It's like, "Man, I wish I would have done that sooner."
Exactly.
It's just like we work with companies, right? And they're always like, "Man, about when it comes to firing an employee, right?"
Dude.
And this is the thing, the easiest answer when people are like, "Hey, when's a good time to fire somebody?" And our answer all the time is when you don't feel bad about it.
Right.
And not because you're just a cold-blooded person that likes to fire people, but when you have given as much resource and time and effort into that person, and you've tried multiple times to make it work and work with them and coach them and teach them, and when you don't feel bad about it, that's when you need to do it. And out of all the companies Echelon Front's worked with, the people that they come back to us, right, and they said, "Hey, we let that person go." How many of them do you think is like, "Man, we regret that"?
None of them.
None of them. And they're like, "We wish we would have done that sooner."
Yeah.
Right? So same thing with negative people in your life.
Right.
And unfortunately, Andy, and I know you know this, and everybody, Tyler and Vaughn know this as well. People are only going to learn this through their own mistakes,
right?
Trial and error.
Right.
However, I say
because they always believe their situation is the exception,
and that's fine because we've done that.
Because,
I've done it.
I have too. But what people do in personal relationships is they fall in love with the potential of the relationship. They build this fucking picture in their mind. They're like, "Oh, one day I'm going to marry this girl and we're going to have these kids and we're going to live here." And so this is like when they're dating and everything's good and they build up this great fucking idea of how things are going to be. Then when things get bad, they don't consider how things are bad. They're like, so when they think about breaking up, they're losing all this future shit that they built in their mind, which isn't even real.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it hard to get rid of them.
And then the sad thing about it is people don't learn from those mistakes,
Yeah.
And we all can sit there and say, we've all made those mistakes.
Look, man, all of us
and
have.
And I've made the mistake multiple times. We all have, right?
Yeah, right.
But if you can recognize that, hey, I made this mistake. I need to learn from it. Like, that's how you truly grow as an individual,
Right.
right? I mean, it goes back to what we did in training in the SEAL teams. We put ourselves in situations where we failed constantly. And we did that so that we could learn from our failures, so that we could adapt and grow and be better.
Right.
And
right.
so if we can do that in training, why can't people do that as individuals?
They can.
Well, they can.
Yeah.
They're just not focused enough.
Right.
They're not disciplined enough
Right.
to do it, I guess.
Right.
So.
Yeah, man. It's interesting because when we talk about, we have a number of different kinds of guests on the show. We've had guys like you who are Navy SEALs or high military guys. We've had guys who are authors. We've had guys who have built huge businesses. We've had guys who, have been successful in other areas. But, dude, it's interesting because, like, all the principles are always parallel. They're always the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what you're trying to accomplish. So, dude, tell us some more shit about, like, blowing people away. Like, dude, that's what I want to hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's okay.
Well, what's funny is, like, I knew this podcast was going to go like this. Like, we almost got to that point.
Yeah.
And then someone said something, and we went down a whole other tangent where we just talked about relationships. Like,
Yeah.
it went from me talking
man.
about my first patrol in Ramadi to, hey, if your girlfriend's not supporting you, you need to break up with her.
Kick her to the curb so you can go blow people away.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, we're getting ready to head out to do that first push, right? And, for these pushes, we're patrolling in the streets. I'm not going to be acting as a sniper.
Right.
So I'm a machine gunner. That was my other thing.
What'd you shoot?
Right? The Mark 46.
Yeah.
So it's a belt-fed 5.56 machine gun, right?
Yeah.
The box of ammo that's attached to the gun holds 200 rounds. And
It's similar to a saw, right?
Well, yeah, it is a saw.
Okay.
Yeah, saw. So it's Mark 46
Yeah.
saw, right? And so I'm carrying the saw. I'm one of the saw gunners. I'm going to be rolling as our rear security guy. And so, of course, like...
That's a heavy gun, especially loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you put another 800 rounds on you...
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of fucking shit to carry.
I have 200 on the gun, another 800.
Yeah.
And then I put another 200 in my backpack as well. So I'm
Yeah.
carrying 1,200 rounds.
Yeah.
The normal loadout that guys carry and train with is 600.
Right. So you're carrying double.
Yeah.
What's that weigh? That's got to weigh 150 pounds at least.
Man, I wish I knew. I'll look it up and figure it out. But the crazy thing to that is...
And it's hot as fuck, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like 115, 120 degrees right now, right? And so we're loaded out, and I remember we're starting the patrol, and there's just like, just a smell of trash and just shit, because
just
they don't
nasty
use
smell.
Well, no, they just don't use they don't have restrooms like we do. You know what I mean? So they'll go out in their front yard and go to the bathroom, right? And so you just smell that throughout the city, or people will literally just go out and like go to the bathroom in the street, and there's just raw sewage in the road, and there's trash.
It's that like nauseating piss smell.
Dude, it was worse than that. It was just disgusting. It was just smelling of just burning trash and everything, So I'm
pretty much the worst
sweating.
possible shit that you could smell.
Yeah, absolutely. Worst possible stuff that you could smell. I'm sweating. We're all sweating, right?
Yeah.
And we're headed out. And I remember the Iraqi that was assigned to me, because also a little curveball that we were throwing was like, oh, by the way, you'll take Iraqi soldiers out with you on every operation that you do.
Is it like one-on-one? Like everybody gets one? Like a buddy system?
Or we just had to bring them out so we could train them up, right?
Right.
And
so that's how they learn. They learn actually out of them fucking...
Well, we were supposed to be teaching them, and that was a good way for us to train them as well, by bringing them out on missions with us, right?
Yeah.
By just forcing them to work and do something.
Yeah.
Because these guys weren't motivated. They didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And the guy that's with me has his, like, pants rolled up into, like, capris. He's wearing flip-flops, and he has a rusted AK that doesn't even have a magazine in the gun. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like,
what the fuck?
But at the same time, I'm like, cool. His gun's not loaded. I don't have to worry about him shooting me, right? So, anyway, so we're patrolling out, and I remember I'm rolling rear security, and we're with other guys. We're mixed in. We have Iraqis, so instead of the normal bounding rear security like we have, I'm doing rear security by myself. So I'm watching the rear, and then I'll turn around and I'll run to catch up, and I'll turn around and do that. And I'm trying to do that back and forth by myself.
So you're gonna get shot in the back.
And you hear gunshots going on, and over the radio we hear that there's enemy fighters in our area. There's women screaming. You know, there's other units in gunfights. You're hearing, you know, tanks moving around the area. Just the fog of war, right?
Right.
Literally, like the sun has kind of already been rising, so it's just that weird, you know, the dust and everything in the city. And I remember we start to go north up this road, and we hear, hey, there's enemy fighters in that southern region, like where there's movement towards you guys. I just remember hearing that over the radio, right? And I'm watching rear security. I bound up to the guys. I turn around, and I see this guy peek around the corner and go back, right? And I just remember instantly, like, our rules of engagement brief that we were told. It was like, hey, guys, what these guys are doing is they'll peek around the corner, and then they'll hide. They'll peek back around the corner, and then they'll hide. And then on the third time that they come out, they're coming out with an RPG or an AK or an RPK, and they're just lighting us up. They're ambushing us, right? Or they'll come out in the third time, and then they'll walk across toward now you're following that guy.
And the guy comes out.
And then you get ambushed and flanked, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember that. Like, all of a sudden I see the guy peek, and he's all mooged up and I'm
right.
like, oh, shit. It's on. You know what I mean? And I remember I had my gun, and I bring my gun up, and I manipulate it from like safety to fire. And I was like, wait, am I on safe or am I on fire? Like, I started to question myself.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, wait, was I already on fire? Was I, you know, like just that intense moment.
Right.
Just like, what am I doing? What am I doing? You know, so I'm like manipulating my safety back and forth. Like, am I on fire? Am I safe? I can't look down, because if I look down, if he comes around with a gun, like,
you're done. Yeah.
I'm going to get shot, or my guys are going to get shot, right? And so I'm trying to like backpedal, like I'm walking backwards, like trying to catch up with the guys. Like, I'm holding on this corner. That guy comes around again, like looks, and I have a gun pointed at him, right? I have a machine gun pointed at him. And there's all these doing, and it doesn't phase him. So I'm like, this is a bad guy.
Right.
100%,
Right.
right? You know what I mean? Like, good people don't just look at
No,
guys
they
in
fucking
gear with guns
they
and
go
be
away.
like, and just mean mug them, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that's your first little sign. Like, and I remember in training, one of the guys saying, hey, when there's a gunfight and there's chaos, the ones that are calm, walking around and not running away, they're a part of what's going on.
Right.
And I just remember, like, just all these little things of training started coming back in, right? And I remember he comes back around, and as he comes around, he has a gun, and he's bringing up the gun, and I already have my gun on him.
Yeah.
And my training clicks in. Like, I remember, like, rolling my finger, feeling, okay, hey, if I feel that, it's on safe. Click over. But, dude, I put, like, 15 to 20 rounds just into this dude's chest.
Yeah.
Folds him over. Another guy comes around the corner, cut him in half as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just full on like contact rear, like yelling it out, right? Just laying down cover fire.
So this was coming from behind you guys.
This came from the rear, right? So I yell contact rear, guys turn around, you know, and I'm just pop, 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 just with the machine gun just opening up, right?
Yeah.
And we had guys up on the rooftops that were starting to like kind of move around in that position. I mean, we were in an ambush, right? And so, and then all of a sudden I hear the guns, which are behind me, but in front of me of the patrol as it's movement, right? They start opening up on the other side of the road. So so
you guys are getting it from both sides.
No. That was my guys allowing me to come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're providing some cover and move, right? Okay. So I'm shooting, right? And then I hear them shooting. I still shoot a little bit more to make sure. I remember I you know, off the gun, the finger off the trigger, I look back, and it's my guys like laying down cover fire, like pop, 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 pop. I turn and I'm hauling, right? I run back, I pass them, pop, 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 pop. I'm just like engaging
doing the same for
positions,
them, right?
So now they can move back. So we're leapfrogging all the way back, and we get to this alleyway that this courtyard. They kicked in the gate, made entrance, they cleared that building, and we're trying to get like a good tactical position. And I'm in the middle of the street just laying it down, because if I would have moved into the courtyard, we didn't have visibility on these guys anymore.
Right.
So I was in the middle of the street just pop, 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 just laying down cover fire from these positions. And I remember they're like, hey, we've got to get over to that building to get the high ground. And I just remember, like, while this is happening, I'm like, this is awesome, dude.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I'm like so fired up, and like this is what I want to do, right?
Yeah.
And this is what we trained for.
Yeah.
And they're like, JP, we need up on that rooftop. So cover our movement. So I'm like, pop, 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 just opening up on my machine gun. I'd already changed out a box of ammo at this point in time, man. I've already gone through 200 rounds, right? And so they're all running across the street. They make entrance to this other courtyard. And then we get up to the rooftop, and we had that, tactical advantage to these guys. And we're just engaging guys in the courtyards that were trying to ambush us. And I mean, that was welcome to Ramadi.
Yeah.
That was the very beginning. The night before, hey, you guys.
So was that dude was that the first dude that you had to like actually kill?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were like, fuck yeah.
I was so excited.
Yeah.
And we got into a couple other gunfights that morning,
Dude, I'm thankful there's dudes like you out there, man.
Guys. It was awesome,
And all you motherfuckers listening and are appalled by saying how cool it is, you guys should be fucking thanking your lucky stars that motherfuckers like this exist.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want it to happen here in the
States. Exactly.
So anyway, so that morning, we got into a handful of other firefights, with guys, killed a handful of other guys. And, like I told you, I went out with 1,200 rounds, right?
Yeah.
When we were patrolling back to base to the area where the other group was replacing us, I had one box of ammo left on the gun.
So you went through 1,000 rounds.
I went through over 1,000 rounds of just, now that's not all obviously shooting people.
No. But there's
laying
tactical
down cover fire
exactly.
and movements and, hey, guess what? People can't shoot at you when you're shooting them.
Right.
So that's what my job is.
The smart ones
gunner.
won't.
hey, go ahead and try.
Right.
Thank
exactly.
You.
Yeah.
And so I remember we get back. I'm just all fired up, right? And Jocko was I remember just the look on Jocko's face, like, he was proud of us, right?
Yeah.
And that was the fulfillment, right?
Yeah.
And that was, we talk about success not being a financial thing.
Right.
To me, that was success. Like seeing Jocko proud of us and what we had done, and looking at the guys that I'd gone out with, and we'd all worked together. We all came back. Now, some of the guys got fragged up and shot up, and that's just part of it, right? You're in a gunfight,
right?
It's
people are gonna get shot.
Could happen, right?
Right.
And so we make it back, and I'm like, hey, I'm going back out on the next group. And he's like, no. I was like, let me go. And I was like begging him, like, let me go back out, because I was like, man, I'm familiar with it. I know what's going on. Like, it's funny. I really didn't. But just those hours that we were out there, I felt like I needed to be there with the next group to guide them. Right.
You're gaining confidence.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, man, trust me. You're going to get plenty of it this deployment. Like, go back and rest. So I went, changed out my gear, loaded everything back up. We were the QRF for the next group, which is a quick reactionary force. We're on standby. And that's pretty much how our deployment was like. So if I was not...
So this went on for months.
6 months.
Yeah.
So if I was not patrolling on the streets as a machine gunner, I was a sniper providing overwatches. And there was times where I patrolled as our point man with only my 300 Win Mag.
Yeah.
Because, we're getting ready to go out and do a sniper overwatch. It was getting to the point where it was so hot there, you could only carry so much gear properly.
Right.
What am I going to do? Have my 300 Win Mag on my back with other stuff and then carry my machine gun? It was just too much.
Yeah, right.
And I had Mikey Mansour, who, if you're not familiar with Mikey, he received the Medal of Honor. At the very end of our deployment, he jumped on a grenade and saved the other 3 guys. Well, he was my machine gunner. He was my, a new guy that was with me. So when I was patrolling as a point man, I was comfortable only rocking the 300 Win Mag, which is a action rifle.
Because you knew you had a stud with you.
Because I knew I had Mikey.
Yeah.
And hey, I know there's a lot of military guys that are out there going to be like, that's stupid. You're an idiot. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I should not have been patrolling point man with a bolt action rifle.
Yeah. Like you're in 1914.
Yeah, but you know what? It was like a little over halfway through the deployment. I didn't really care anymore.
Right.
So
but
that Ramadi deployment was extremely humbling. We
it had to be one of the most
memorable, rewarding,
and meaningful in terms of what you learned.
Yeah, absolutely.
About yourself and about other things.
100%. And we went from being in 30 to 50, enemy attacks a day in Ramadi to towards the end it was like one a day.
Yeah.
One a week.
Cleaned it up.
And we cleaned up Ramadi.
Yeah.
And it was either because they left or we were killing them.
Right.
We didn't care either or. We're going to facilitate both.
Right.
And seeing the local Iraqis get their neighborhood back was amazing.
I bet they were happy.
It was amazing. It was rewarding, and seeing the Iraqis that we worked with saying, wow, we made a difference.
Right.
Because, hey, that's their home. That's their neighborhood, right?
Right.
And, as you guys know, every victory comes with a cost, though. You know? And that Ramadi, that was a heavy one, dozens of vehicles and tanks completely destroyed and gone.
Right.
Over 500 soldiers, sailors, and Marines were wounded in that 6-month period, and 61 were killed in action. And the hits for our task unit, that was hard. We're a small unit. We lost Mark Lee on August 2nd, towards the end of our deployment. He was the first Navy SEAL killed in Iraq. He was shot in the face by an enemy sniper while he was protecting his guys' movements. Mikey Mansour that I was just talking about, he was, it should have been his last combat operation, man. We were packed up, ready to go home. And on September 29th, 2006, head out to do a sniper overwatch. And a grenade gets tossed up onto the rooftop, and he has the out. He has the stairwell that he could have jumped, off the roof down the stairwell. And he jumped on top of that grenade, man, and saved the other 3 guys' lives that were around him. And, on the same day that Mark was killed, Ryan Job was shot in the face as well and completely blinded, gets pulled out of country, obviously, sent overseas to Germany, swelling in his brain because of fragments that's in his face and his brain, and loses his sense of smell, his sense of taste. And, his high school sweetheart that he, she was in nursing school. She quits nursing school to take care of him. They get married. And, in September of 2009, the week that they find out that they're having a baby girl, he goes in for his 22nd surgery and doesn't make it back. And you talk about what we took back from that deployment. I'm rubbing my finger because, I was cut down to the bone, and they thought I was going to lose my finger. So I got medevaced out of that forward operating base to a big base for surgery. And that one op that I missed was the op that Mikey was killed on. So, yeah, what do you come back from a deployment like that with? A lot of guilt,
right?
A lot of doubt, a lot of anger,
a lot of what ifs.
Oh,
right,
dude, insane.
Yeah,
right. And you can sit in that darkness. You can do the what ifs, and you can wonder, and you can play those games, and you can. But where does that get you? Absolutely nowhere.
Right. It keeps you in the darkness.
100%. Right. And the lessons that we learned on the battlefield, that's what we had to bring back, right? About humility, teamwork, and ownership, right? Taking ownership of everything that affects your mission, your life, right? And those around you. And that leadership is the most important thing on the battlefield. And I'm today as well, and as you know, everybody in this room knows, leadership is the most important thing off the battlefield.
No question.
And I'm not talking about the CEO like you are,
right,
but all the way down
to
the guy that's in the
360-degree leadership.
That is legitimately in charge of nothing else other than himself.
Right.
Leadership to the individual.
Right.
And that's how you win. And, we took those lessons that we learned on the battlefield. And that's why I love when we talk with companies and I talk with individuals, these aren't theories. These are things that have been proven to win, right? And we won. The Battle of Ramadi, we won. And when I say we, I don't mean the SEAL teams. I mean U.S. fighting forces,
right?
America, we won,
right?
Working together, right? With the Army, with the Marine Corps, with the Air Force. I mean, we all worked together to make it happen. And, and that's, a lot of awesome memories, some amazing opportunities that we were a part of, but those lessons that we learned, that we took back,
right?
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, dude, super powerful to hear you talk about that. And definitely, I don't think people are aware, first of all, that you guys are all close, how close everybody is over there. Like when you're talking about your buddies, that these are dudes that you were fucking close with.
Yeah.
And, I think that when people have hard things happen to them, they do tend to stay in the darkness, and they tend to dwell in it, and they tend to question, and they tend to say, well, if this, if that, if this, guess what? It isn't that way. It's this way. And I think being a realist about the way things are is super important to pulling yourself out of those holes, because it would be real easy for you to be a guy who would say, yeah, dude, if I was there, it would have been this way, or if this would have happened, it would have been this way, and Mikey wouldn't have died, or if this would have happened, or that would have happened, and you could dwell your whole fucking life on that.
100%.
But the reality of the situation is he did that for a fucking reason, and he did that so that guys like you and the other guys that were there can go out and make a fucking impact, which is what you're doing, which is awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. And, you know, and that's when I talk to people, and that's my reminder, you know, like I have alarms set on my phone that says live to honor them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a hashtag I use as well on social media, you know, mission first mindset, to remind myself,
right,
what's the mission, right? What is my new mission? My mission, obviously, I'm not in the SEAL teams, and I wish I was. I miss it every single day. It's the absolute best job in the world. However, being in the SEAL teams was a chapter in my life. And when I talk to vets and they're like, how did you transition? Was it easy? I'm like, no, it was horrible. It was a horrible transition. Because I didn't realize that being in the SEAL teams was a chapter of my book.
Right.
My life
because
up
until that point, it had been everything. The purpose. Right.
Exactly.
But see what I think what you're realizing now, and I just gather this from our, you know, you and I knowing each other a little bit and getting to know each other more in our conversations. I think what you're realizing now is that you do have a much higher purpose, and that all that was fertilizer for what's coming next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. Like, they think, you know, they have these visions in their head about what they should be or could be or should have been or could have been or what they were. And they hang on to that. It'd be real easy also for a guy like you to be like, dude, I was this, I did that. And to really not do much. You know what I mean? But dude, you're taking all your lessons and you're pouring them into something new that is going to impact literally millions of people between you and Jocko and Life and the other guys. You know, you guys are impacting people in a way that is improving their total existence in 360 degrees. And dude, that to me, there's nothing higher on the honor scale than that, because you're not doing it. I'm sure you guys are doing well financially and all this shit. And that all comes with impact. We talk about that a lot here.
Yeah.
But, and I could speak from experience on this because I know this, like seeing people go out and change themselves. You know, we talked about my friend here who lost 50 pounds in the last 30 days.
Dude, that guy is awesome.
Yeah. He's almost 400 pounds. He lost 50 pounds in 30 days. He said, dude, I'm fucking tired of being fat. And he went out and took action. And seeing people impact and change, and then the impact, the ripple effect that creates in their world.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. And like, dude, I just think it's fucking awesome what you guys are doing with the muster, what you're doing with your consulting, Never Settle Consulting, which ironically we talked about has been a slogan of ours for a long time.
Yeah.
Which it's really weird how that worked out because we didn't even really know each other.
No,
it was
we
just
didn't
something we
at all.
both came up with.
Yeah. And you know how it came
Because
up with.
JP hits me in a text like a month ago and he's like, bro, this has been weighing on me. Like, my company's called Never Settle, and I know that's one of your trademark slogans. Like, is that going to create an issue? And I'm like, fuck no, I think it's awesome. But like, it's weird how things work out.
No, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know? And so how Never Settle came about was, you know, I was, you know, doing sales at a financial company and I was miserable.
Yeah.
And I was making more money than I ever thought I would be able to, because I had that, you know, that constraint on myself of my family, you know, only made a certain amount, even though my parents work harder than anybody else I know. Right.
Right.
And then I was in the military. So yeah, you make what you make in the military. And I didn't realize, wow, you can make good money, you know? And but I was miserable. I hated it. And so it didn't matter, you know? And I'm sitting there at church trying to figure out what I want to do. And I remember I was just thinking about the teams, because I literally think about the teams every day, and I miss my guys every day. And I miss that brotherhood. And I'm sitting there, the culture, and just that mindset. And the biggest thing that I missed about other than the brotherhood, is the mindset of guys constantly pushing each other not to be average, not to settle. Like in everything that we did, it was always a constant push of just your training, just everything, right?
Right.
We don't allow each other to settle, right? And you don't allow yourself to settle, because if you allow yourself to settle for average and just be just blah, right? That could get somebody killed. That is not even an option, right? And so that's why I was like, Never Settle Consulting. Oh, cool. I'll start a company called Never Settle Consulting. Yeah. And there wasn't a company called out there doing that. And I'm like, cool, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
But
so
it's fucking cool. Like, it's so ironic, like, because we vibe on so many levels of how we think, that we both use that fucking phrase. Dude, like, because I know you didn't like look at it and say, oh, I'm going to use that. Like, it was something you came up with genuinely. and I came up with genuinely, and it's just cool.
It was, one of my,
I think it's fucking cool.
Yeah, no, one of my really good buddies, one of my close friends, my best friends in Texas, Steven and Zane, like when I started the company, Never Settle, I told them I did my logo and everything. And they're like, that's awesome. They sent me a picture because they use your supplements. Yeah. They love them. They sent me a picture of one of the protein bottles that said Never Settle. And I was like, oh shit.
Dude.
And I was just like, because that was a while ago. And I love it. Well, he doesn't have Never Settle consulting brand.
Yeah,
so
no.
That's not an issue.
No, I think it's awesome.
Because I was like, man, because I've known about your company for years. I'm like, man, those are some big boys. I'm just gonna, okay, I'm gonna start something else.
No way.
But
yeah.
And then Jocko and with Echelon Front, and yes, I'm gonna continue with my company Never Settle for sure because it's making it. Dude, I have people that have my logo tattooed on them.
Well, so do I. And that's a good fucking sign.
Dude, I love that.
That means you're making an impact.
Which I thought was cool. But, the other thing is the impact that I'm able to make with Echelon Front is 1,000 times larger than I can with Never Settle. So people are always like, are you just putting your company on the back burner? I'm like, no, it's still there.
No, I'm putting myself in a position to make a bigger impact.
Exactly. I don't care. Who cares about who gets the recognition, right?
Absolutely.
As long as you win. And if I'm winning with Echelon Front, then that's where I need to be. If I can make a greater impact over people's lives with Echelon Front, which I'm doing, that's where my focus is going to be. They take care of me. They take care of my family. I'm able to provide for my family. And I've legitimately had people reach out and say, what you guys are doing and what you've done with my company has changed our lives. That's, you know what I mean? And I was uncomfortable at first telling my story and being on a podcast. I was on Jocko's podcast and I was uncomfortable about that. And Jocko was like, hey, somebody needs to hear your story.
No question.
You don't know what. And I'm like, okay. And I did the podcast and, as it is, I don't have like a big social media following as it is right now. Cause I've been
Speaking of which, all of you guys should be following JP. Tell people where they can follow you on Instagram and anywhere else that's important.
Well, it's pretty simple. On Facebook and Instagram, it's JP Dinnell. So JPDINNELL, right? So that's linked from Instagram to Facebook. And then Never Settle Consulting as well, right?
So do the man a solid, guys. He's putting out awesome info here. Make sure you're following him.
I appreciate it. But so I had a vet reach out to me, and I get this message, right? And he said, hey, man, I just want to let you know that I was going to kill myself this week. And I heard your message on Jocko's podcast. I was just wondering if I could reach out to you once in a while. I'm like, bro, here's my cell phone.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember seeing that, and I was like, okay, it was worth it. You know what I mean? Like my stupid insecurities about my name being out there and all this other bullshit.
Right.
Yeah, dude, I had a bounty on my head.
Right.
Overseas.
Yeah.
Cool. That meant I did a really good job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was just like so worried about all this stuff and insecure. And, I was like, you know what? If other team guys are going to have an issue with me telling my story, so be it.
Right.
And the team guys that matter, like team guys that I look up to, have been like, hey, man, what you guys are doing is awesome.
Right.
And that's what matters, right? But the fact that this guy reached out and said, hey, man, I was going through some really dark times like you did. Can I just reach out? Can I talk to you? Like, I wanted to kill myself, but I'm not going to because of what you said. And I'm like, dude, call me. Here is my cell phone. If you ever need to talk, I'm here, right?
Yeah.
And I've had probably about 6 or 7 vets do that.
Yeah.
And my phone's on 24/7, right? And I've had a couple of them call, and I'm like, hey man, what's up? You doing good? We'll talk through stuff.
Yeah.
100% worth it, right? Being able to do that, it's because of what Jocko and Leif have done with Echelon Front. It's amazing, and I'm humbled to be a part of it. And it's just weird how things come together. Because I was always reaching out to Jocko. Hey, if you ever need help, let me know. What can I do to learn? I'm listening to your podcast. I've read your book.
What can I do to learn? What can I do to help?
Yes.
And now you're a main fucking guy in it.
Well, it's crazy because I was always like, how can I help? How can I help? Hey, the mentor doesn't seek out the mentee.
That's right.
The mentee seeks out the mentor. And I'd constantly text Jocko that. And then that came together, right? And then I'm listening to your podcast. My buddy recommends it to me. And, I don't even
remember how we hooked up. How do we initially hook up? I think you commented on my thing.
Yeah. So I was listening to your podcast
because we've been communicating for a while now.
Yeah. And it was after the muster where I met Chris and the guys from Nutrition Solutions.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so they mentioned, I mentioned, I'm like, yeah, you know,
Chris Cavallini, awesome dude, by the way.
Dude, Chris Cavallini with Nutrition Solutions.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
Major plug.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome company too.
Oh, I remember these posts now where you went to go speak for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally remember this now.
That's crazy. Yeah. So they come to the muster. I meet them. We're talking. You know, it's kind of hard not to be drawn to that group of guys, right? They have that energy. You know? And so we're talking with them, and I mentioned your podcast, right? And I'm like, yeah, you know, MFC. And they're like, we know him well. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Kind of like everyone's always like, hey, I know Jocko. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because you listen to him doesn't mean you know him, right? And they're like, no, we like, you know, we came up there and he put us up, took care of us. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, dude, I was like, you guys might think I'm kind of crazy, but I was actually for a while, Andy, I was listening to podcasts. I'm like, I've got to connect with this guy. If I want to take what I'm doing to the next level, I've got to connect with Andy somehow. So for a while, and Amanda was full on board with this, I was going to drive up here and just come knock on the door and say, hey, here's my background. I would love to take you out to lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, cool. Andy's not here. Can you let him know this is who I am? I'll be in town for 24 hours. And I was just going to like go chill at a hotel and just be
That's
like,
how you make shit happen.
That's what I had planned on doing, right? And I was like, I think Andy, from what I've heard from the podcast, will dig that, or he'll tell me to fuck off, and okay, and then I'll drive back to South Haven, right? No big deal. Hey, you know, whatever. And I'll get my kids a souvenir from St. Louis and go back home. You know, what do I have to lose? Nothing.
Yeah.
Right? It's a no matter what, unless I asked. So,
that's right.
And so I tell them that, and they're like, we can do one better. Why don't we reach out? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So at the muster, I got a signed copy of Extreme Ownership from Jocko and Leif, and then I signed a letter into it, gave it to one of the employees that was there. They said they were going to send it up to you guys.
Yes.
And I think from after that, you know, I commented on a couple things on Instagram, and you replied back, and we were going back and forth. Like, you started liking some of my stuff, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
You know, you practice what you preach, right, on social media. Yeah. Dude, when you started liking some of my stuff, I have buddies that would see Andy Frisella. Well, first of all, when you started following my JP Dinnell page, I was like, this is a fake account. There's no way Andy's following me, right? So I checked it. I'm like, oh, it's a verified account. Like, this is legit. And I was like, oh, the videos are actually him, so it's kind of hard to fake. Okay, it's him. That's awesome. That's weird how this worked out, Lord.
Well, dude.
And then when you would like some of my stuff, I have buddies that took screenshots of it.
That's hilarious.
Circled your name and text it to me. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. and then
we go way back.
Yeah. We're off and on.
Well, bro, you guys have an awesome message, man. Like, you know, I haven't met Jocko in person. I know we'll meet soon, I'm sure, because we're crossing paths everywhere. But what you guys are doing as a whole is extremely admirable, and I'm all about supporting that kind of stuff. And so, dude, I'm super honored to have you and have you up here. I'm excited to go to dinner and hang out too.
For sure.
But you know, I just, you know, want to say thank you for not only like what you did for our country, you know, like you said earlier when the other kid said it, you know, I loved it. I feel guilty when people say that.
Yeah, I do.
But
it was the best time of my life.
I'm someone who thinks on a big picture and understands for big picture to happen takes a lot of little actions. And so, dude, like, not only thank you for that, but thank you for, you know, taking the path that you have and working to inspire and help coach and help bring leadership to the forefront of people's focus, because I do agree with you guys that that's what people are lacking when it comes to their ability to not just succeed financially, but feel confident and feel in control and feel like they know what they're doing with their life. And, dude, what you guys are doing is admirable, man. I respect it a lot. So thank you.
It. Yeah. Thank you. And you know, I know we talked about the muster a lot, and I'd be doing us a disservice if I didn't mention this.
No.
You know, we have another event that we're rolling out called a Roll Call.
Yeah.
And it's like the muster, but only, and I'm fired up about this, it's only for law enforcement, firefighters, and military.
Yeah.
And it's our way to be able to give back to them. It's going to be at a lower price point.
That's awesome.
And the material is going to be geared towards what they have to go through every single day and how we can help them become better leaders. And here's the thing. Hey, are there good cops and bad cops? Yes. There's good and bad in
everywhere.
Every organization.
Exactly.
We have dirt bags in the SEAL teams, right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal. quit complaining about what the cops are doing wrong unless you're making an effort to help them. They don't have the proper training, proper funding half the time.
Right.
So how can you expect them to perform at this high level when they're given the very bare minimums?
No, dude.
And they do a phenomenal job with
man.
what they have resources to. And
Yeah.
that's a whole other day of talking.
No,
for sure,
trust me.
but
Like, we're on the same page,
yeah,
bro.
roll call.
Yeah.
You talk about just giving back, us being able to work with them. It's going to be phenomenal. It's just a lot of weird things have been starting to come together,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know.
Well, dude, you know why it's coming together, bro? It's coming together because just like you were visualizing being a SEAL and coming up to be a SEAL and things happen, things don't just come together. What comes together is what you focus on and what you take action towards. And dude, there is no magic to this whole idea of success. There isn't. No. It's doing shit. And people hear that and they think like, oh yeah, it's easy for you to say. Motherfucker, I've lived it. You've lived it. Anybody who's done anything has lived it. If you take one step and you take another step and then you take a third step, eventually you're going to get to fucking a mile. And eventually you're going to get to 10 miles. Eventually you're going to get 30 fucking miles. And it's one foot in front of the other, man. It's no magic. And don't fucking lie to yourself and tell yourself, oh, this guy's this because of this and this guy's that because of this thing that I don't have. Bullshit. Those people are there because you fucking aren't doing it, and they are. And that's that. And so what both of us and Jocko too, and the Echelon Front and the MFCEO Project movement and all the things, we're trying to show people that they are in control. And you have to take control. Nobody's going to give you control. Nobody's going to give you permission. Nobody's going to tell you it's okay. You have to tell yourself it's okay. And that's what we're trying to do here.
So in that task unit, when Jocko was in charge, I was the youngest and most junior ranking individual in the task unit, right? And I was always like, cool, that's awesome. No responsibility, right? Just give me a gun, put me in the stack. I don't have to think about anything, right? That's the absolute worst mindset that you can have, right? Just trying to float along, be the gray man, right?
Right.
But I was doing it because I was like, hey, I'm a junior guy. I'm really young. I don't, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And Jocko was like, hey, JP, I don't care that you're the youngest guy. I don't care that you're the junior most ranking guy. Take ownership of what you have to do. Take ownership of what affects you and your team and what affects the mission, right? And when you take ownership of that, that's going to help make things happen. You want to grow amongst the ranks of your company? Take ownership of your everyday activities. Hey, your boss isn't doing their job? Good. Take ownership of that and do it for them.
Yeah,
right?
and guess what?
Your coworker,
guess what that equates to?
Yeah.
Paycheck.
You know what? One of the memes that I can't stand that's on Facebook right now, it shows this guy acting like he's whining or crying, and it says, my work has this really cool thing to where if you do a good job, you get to do other people's jobs.
Oh yeah.
And
that's the opportunity, motherfuckers.
Well, that's what's wrong with society is that's the mindset of like, oh, I'm going to have to do extra work.
You know what's funny?
Well, that's why you're going to always be making minimum wage.
Yeah, you want to know how you can fucking tell who's a piece of shit in your company and who's not as the motherfuckers that post that meme or like it. Because I get it too, dude. I know exactly the meme you're talking about. And dude, other people not doing their shit is a great opportunity for you to shine and show your fucking value.
And grow.
Yes.
And it's like, I get...
But those same people will complain, JP. They will complain about how there's no fucking opportunity. It's like, dude, what the fuck, man? Nobody comes along. Dude, I always say this thing. Like, yes, sometimes you will have the door of opportunity open for you, but guess what? Nobody's going to drag you through it.
Nope.
And that's what we're lacking. Because the generation that you talk to and that I talk to, the under 30 generation right now, they've been taught bullshit. They've been taught a fucking different set of rules that applies to the ideal world versus the rules that apply to the real world.
Yeah. And
in the real world, nobody's going to come along and give you a job or give you, like this is, dude, I see people post this. Anybody got a fucking job? Does anybody know anybody who has a job? Dude, motherfucker, why don't you go out and fucking make a job for yourself or take a job?
Sell yourself. Like, hey, FYI, this is what I'm capable of doing.
Exactly.
It's like what I try to do with Never Settle with the shirts and hats that I have is I try to sponsor MMA fighters to help them out, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't give them money.
Yeah.
Because guess what that does? Absolutely nothing, right? I make them work for it. I'm helping them learn and grow and everything. And I tell these guys all the time, it's like these fighters like, hey, got a fight coming up. Let me know if you want to sponsor me. Hit me up. Yeah, okay, cool. Because your last post was talking about you smoking weed and all this other stupid stuff. A, your representation of my company. Nope, not going to happen.
Right.
B, if you're saying hit me up, it's not going to happen.
They're not even saying hit me up. They're saying HMU because they're that fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Like motherfuckers that type their whole posts and fucking text talk. Dude, I don't even like when people text me in text talk. Like K or HMU or whatever the fuck you fucking say. Dude. I don't even know what the fuck. I had to ask you something the other day.
I didn't know what it meant either.
Like, dude, I said somebody text something and I had to text Tyler a screenshot and say, what does this fucking mean? Like, and then he had to look it up. Like, I don't even understand what the fuck you guys are saying.
Like when you asked that question, did Tyler respond IDK?
No. Did you?
No. I think I did actually.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I got I'm protected from my brother and sister. They're very close with me, and I remember on my sister's birthday, like all the people were like commenting on our Facebook page, like what is it, HBD? Like HBD, right?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
And I responded underneath them. I'm like, if you're so lazy that you can't type out happy birthday, don't wish my sister a happy birthday.
Fuck yeah.
And she's like, JP, calm down.
Dude.
I'm like, no.
Dude,
like,
true.
That's a pet peeve of mine. Like when people, this is going off on something, but like this is fucking annoys me so bad about fucking the internet right now. When it's your birthday and I keep my birthday private because I don't want all these motherfuckers that don't know it's my birthday, like happy birthdaying me this fake shit.
I could only imagine the amount of messages
It's fake though. It's fake. They don't really fucking care.
And they don't even know until they get that fucking notification on there.
Facebook says, "Oh, it's Andy's birthday," and then I get all the people I don't even fucking know saying happy birthday. You didn't know it was my birthday until Facebook told you, motherfucker. And then you're going to type HBD. Get the fuck out of here. Like, if it's my fucking birthday, you could call me. I'll accept a text too. Other than that, fuck off. That's it. Like, I don't like fake conversation. Like, if you're my friend and we haven't talked in a while, give me a phone call on my birthday. Say, hey, Andy, what's up? I probably won't answer. I'll probably text you back and say, hey, bro, I don't answer my fucking phone. But the reality is the thought that counted. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, the amount of laziness that is just out. Like, if you can't even type happy fucking birthday, like,
it's ridiculous.
Bro,
it's funny.
It's funny you say that because that's like a huge
They're the
pet
same
peeve
people
of mine.
that will ask you a question when it could easily be solved by 2 seconds on Google.
You post, not only that, you post a post. You say, hey, selling my car, $9,000. And then in the fucking comment, how much is the price? Like, it's like, motherfucker.
Oh, dude, that drives me crazy.
Dude.
When someone makes a post on, like when someone makes a comment on the post asking about what's
you just posted.
Like, I told you exactly what.
That happens to me every time I post a motherfucking video on Instagram. I'll say in the fucking caption, video from this episode, number 199, and give the title. Go see the link in the bio. Hey, what episode is that clip from? Motherfucker, if I could cut you, I would. Like, dude.
You should see, I'm sure you can assume that Jocko's not a big fan of that either.
Oh, yeah.
And just seeing him, like, just some of the messages that he gets. And
I'm my God. Yeah.
What?
Dude, trust me.
Right.
And it's got to be hard for him because I can already like imagine his personality, and it's got to be hard for him dealing with the fame that he's gotten now.
Yeah.
Because you get so much weird shit.
It's been really funny to watch it progress because I've known him since he was in since 2004, right?
Yeah.
When he was like, "What is social media?" And I mean, he knew what it was. He's not
Yeah,
an
yeah.
idiot,
I get it.
He's like,
Yeah.
Why would I do this, right?
Yeah.
But here's a cool thing about Jocko is when he was getting like the fame and they're building stuff up, right? Someone's like, yeah, you should have a Twitter account. He's like, no, that's stupid. And then he kind of did some research. He's like, okay, I'll get a Twitter account, right? And then within less than 12 hours, he knew all the ins and outs of Twitters and hashtags and how to work everything. And he was just like a machine.
Now he's the Twitter master.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm like, how do you respond to everybody?
Yeah. Dude, the one thing I like about Jocko, I like a lot of things about Jocko, but the one thing I really like is like, and this is, not everybody will get this, but some people will. Speaking effectively is an art form, okay? And not everybody can do it. Not everybody has the tonality. Not everybody has the delivery. Not everybody can speak in a way that sucks people in where they pay attention. And I'm talking about the actual act of speaking. You know, a lot of people listen to the podcast because they're like, dude, I love how you talk and I love the sound of your voice and this and that. And, you know, that's a skill that you perfect. And I love his delivery. Like, I love the way he fucking speaks. Like, it's just so badass.
What's awesome about that is he recognized that.
Yeah.
So when he was going from enlisted to officer, he had to go through school and college.
Yeah.
Well, he went to school and he got his degree in English and communication.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what he knew was important. And to be a good, effective leader, guess what you need to have the ability to do?
Speak.
Communicate.
Yeah. But I mean, dude, it's just, you know, I don't say that about anybody because there's a lot of people out there with big followings that I just cannot, like, their sound of their voice and their delivery scratches my fucking brain. Listen, everybody knows that there's people out there like this. Yeah. But he's one of those guys that when you listen, you're like, fuck yeah. Like, I'm going to go fucking kill some motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's a great thing is like he had that.
He's just one of the guys that I really enjoy. I genuinely enjoy hearing speak.
Yeah, no, he's
and
phenomenal.
I think he's probably the only guy I could say that about. Like, I don't really know any other guys that are delivering a verbal message on that level.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what that's why he's having the success he's having. And Leif's the same way. You know, Leif just doesn't have a podcast, so he's not as, you know, in the
media. I haven't heard him.
So he's on a couple of Jocko's podcasts. I'll send those over.
Okay.
Leif's a phenomenal speaker, you know. And dude, another one of the guys on our team, Dave Burke, 23 years in the Marine Corps as an officer, right? Top Gun pilot, Top Gun instructor.
Holy shit.
He's the
That's
only
awesome.
person in the world to have flown 4 different fighter planes operationally.
So, like, in combat.
In combat,
Yeah.
yeah. So in squadron commanders of all these different commands, he was on the ground with us in Ramadi, right? Oh, yeah. You talk about being out of your comfort zone.
Wait.
Listen to Jocko Podcast 69 for all those listening right now if you want the full story. But yeah, so he was a Top Gun pilot, Top Gun instructor, goes to a command where he ends up having to be a ground liaison with us. So he's on the ground with us in Ramadi so that he can communicate
with the other pilots.
Yes.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
Dude, he talks about, he's like, dude, I don't even know the last time I'd put my camis on, right? Being in a fight suit, right? Like living the life. Like he was running Top Gun.
Yeah.
You talk about a brilliant individual.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, insane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are the guys that I get to hang out with and work with.
Yeah, that's
you know?
fucking
Like,
awesome,
We brought
dude.
on another team guy, Flynn
Yeah.
Cochran, officer in the SEAL teams, Harvard business graduate, was working with McKinsey Group. Now is working with us as our chief strategy officer.
That's
Like,
awesome.
Dude, it's like,
You guys are doing awesome work, man.
yeah.
Like,
These
it is
guys,
awesome.
Those guys, their ability to communicate, I'm like, whenever I hang out, we're doing something together, I have my notebook, and I'm like, yep, okay,
Yeah.
write that down. write that
Yeah,
down, you know?
yeah, that's cool. Hey, man,
Stealing
it's
that?
all about who you surround yourself with. You surround yourself with losers, you're gonna be a fucking loser.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
So I know
love
you're
it.
going to wrap it up, but I have to make that one quick announcement.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So, guys, many of you waited till the last minute to submit your testimonial, which is cool.
Wait, that's not. Listen, we just talked for fucking 5 hours about ownership. Let's talk about fucking ownership. We fucked up because we forgot that we told people that they could submit till the 31st, and we announced the winners on the 30th because it's our fault, motherfucker. It's not theirs.
Okay, I stand corrected.
FYI.
All right, good point. At any rate, our point being, we're going to announce one more winner within the next week or so.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, at least one, maybe 2.
Okay.
So sorry for fucking up. See, that's the part of taking accountability.
Amen.
You got to apologize, make it right, and
But
move
what's
on.
awesome is like and I know we're wrapping it up, so I don't want to go down
Yeah.
the rabbit hole, is ownership's not just saying, hey, we messed up,
It's
we
fixing
messed up.
it.
It's the problems and the solutions.
Yes.
Which you guys just did.
No, I just did a whole fucking talk on this Sunday with all of our employees out here. So it's funny that we're talking about it right now. Because
My bad.
We talked about
My bad. Oh,
yeah, dude. So I made an example of one of our guys who likes to say when he does things wrong. Mike Taylor, by the way, because I know he fucking listens. He says always like this. I'm like, hey, bro, blah, blah, blah. He'd be like, oh, bro. He's from California. Oh, bro. My bad. Like, so I fuck with him a little bit in front of him. He runs the company, so
Nice.
I had to bust his balls a little
yeah, of
bit.
course.
But you know, taking accountability is recognizing you fucked up and fixing it.
Yeah.
It's not just saying you're sorry. So, guys, we are sorry and we will fix it. All right, guys.
My bad.
JP, dude, thank you, man. Guys, you need to follow this guy. You need to follow Jocko and listen to his podcast. That's a plug for him. And I've never met him, but dude, I do enjoy his content. I think he's an awesome dude, and I love what you guys are doing. So,
Does Echelon Front have a Instagram?
Yeah, Echelon Front, and then Echelon Front Muster. So that is our Instagram.
So we'll
page.
put all those links to JP's personal and also Jocko's personal and the companies that you guys are doing. Everything in the description for the podcast.
Yeah.
So
and if somebody decides they want to go to my website, neversettleconsulting.com, I have some new shirts and hats and everything on up there.
Support these guys. They're doing honorable stuff.
Well, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
but I'll have a discount code MFCEO. You'll get 15% off your whole order.
Cool.
So all caps,
Cool.
MFCEO.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Very nice.
Well, dude, thank you so much for making the trip, man. This has been fun. This is right up my alley, dude. Because like you guys live like the shit that I kind of wish I could have lived. So I appreciate you guys a lot.
Well, what's awesome is you're doing the stuff that we're working on doing now as well. You know
Well,
what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's
but
cool how it all
just
balances
know,
out.
and you share this with Jocko and the other guys. Like anything you guys need help with or support with, like I'm more than happy to step in and help whatever we can do. So
yeah, we'll make it happen for sure.
Cool.
All right, thanks guys. We'll be back on Thursday for some Thursday Thunder. Talk to you later.